Welcome back to Author to Author. On today's video, I'll be doing another exciting chapter reading. Before we begin, just a quick thank you to everyone who has subscribed and supported the channel so far. Please leave a like and comment on the video, as that will help boost engagement even further. And now we'll begin. This is Chapter 1 of The Lantern Keepers by Cynthia Blue. I woke with weight pressed onto my lungs. Dampness had crept into the room overnight, draping itself over the furniture, over me like a shroud. Whilst I slept, the cold settled into my bones, painting itself into my lungs. Yesterday, wet heat hung in the air, thick as syrup, cloying and suffocating. I'd cranked open my bedroom window that evening, begging the dark for mercy from the stagnant air that filled our little tin box of a house. But the sky, the ever-fickle Indiana sky, had answered, first with silence, then with a sigh so sharp it split the world. By midnight the temperature had plunged, and now the frost glittered on every blade of grass, 1,000 fragile daggers catching the pale dawn. Mercy had come, yes, but it was a cruel kind of grace. Too much. Too late. In another life I knew the weather. Every morning I'd wake to coffee brewing in its nicotine-stained pot. He was up before the sun, always. The soft red firefly glow from his cigarette as he sat on the couch would welcome me as I walked down the hall. He would be staring intently at the bright reds and greens as they flickered across the television screen, planning his work around whatever weather would come our way. It was his morning ritual. No, it was ours. Tears stung my eyes. I tried to breathe, but my lungs were still filled with the night. I claw at the memories, trying to shove them back into the past where they belong. There's no sweetness in them anymore, just bitterness. Today, like most days, I slipped on black long john leggings, rough with waffle knit fabric. They were his once, worn thin at the knees, still remembering the shape of his body somehow. Then jeans, too big and unfashionably ripped at the knees. I tied a flannel around my waist. Lately, or perhaps in the years since Papa died, my reflection has become a stranger. Grief has carved itself beneath my eyes, leaving purple hollows, shadowed like bruises. There's something else that lurks there, deep in my dark eyes. A version of me, half submerged in those eyes. Her fingers brushing the surface, close enough to touch, yet always slipping under. She's drowning, and I stand paralysed on the shore, on the outside, so I turn away. I avoid the mirrors. I leave her there and whisper to the dark, please don't let her drown. But today I caught a glimpse. Sleepy, haunted eyes, sitting in the face of a woman. Sleepy, haunted eyes sitting in the face of a woman who could sleep all the hours of the day away and still be exhausted. Freckles, reckless constellations, tossed across my skin by careless angels who couldn't be bothered to arrange them with grace, and dull brown hair that occasionally, when it feels like showing off, flashes red when the sun kisses it, with waves caught between the curling and straightening, never fully committing to either. In the living room, fog hung low to the ground like a ghastly carpet. Mama must have cranked open all the other windows in the trailer during the night. This morning she had vanished, leaving only the company of the fog. Outside, I climbed onto my bike. There are only 2 trailers up this way, often easy to miss winding gravel trail surrounded by dense forest. The red hound next door was pulling on his chain and whining. My neighbours were out this morning, Cliff and his brother Casper. Casper is my age, maybe a year older. I'd gone to school with him before. I never let my gaze linger when he might notice. There's a boyish roughness to him, all sun-browned edges and motor oil. Beneath it, something softer hums. His unassuming shyness, a tenderness that had spilled out the first day I met him, when he'd lifted my suitcases from my hands without a word, trying to carry my burdens from the moment he saw me, looking at me with understanding in his eyes like dark chocolate and amber flakes of caramel. The town is pretty in a way a pressed flower is pretty. Pretty, but no breath left inside it. Dead. Scratch the surface and the ugliness will show itself. Once I went to the bakery to buy tea and something sweet for Charlotte and me. Behind the counter, bakers were scraping icing from a cake. A mistake, I had wondered to myself, then gasped, when they tossed the whole thing into the sink to be scrubbed clean. It was a plastic cake. Their front window was a display of beautiful lies, sugar-spun illusions. I walked out empty-handed that day, the taste of deception bitter on my tongue, a sourness no amount of swallowing could wash away. People here know exactly who I am and where I came from, what I'll be. Small towns don't let you forget. Small towns smile pretty and sweetly say, "You can't sit with us. No, this seat isn't taken, it's just not for you. It will never be for you." They smell the Appalachian clay on me, hillbilly trash, just like her people. The hot tin box is better than before, though that might seem a lie to those who haven't lived it. One house in Kentucky had a dirt floor packed hard. At its heart squatted an energy cast-iron pot-belly stove. Its belly never full, its breath sour smoke that coiled into the room, burning the eyes and raking the lungs like a reminder. To live was to be punished. It was my job at 12 to carry a 5-gallon bucket to a small cinder-block building we called the Coal Temple. Morning, noon and night I fed that gluttonous stove with coal slate, my arms aching, my back bent, knowing it would never be satisfied. Even with those memories, something inside keeps tugging my soul back towards the mountains. A low, constant pull that never loosens its grip. An unsettledness lives in my chest. At night, when the house goes quiet and the dark presses close, I swear I can hear the wind threading through the trees. Some evenings when I'm out scattering grain for the chickens, the forest speaks with its own voices, whistles and hoots and long aching cries that sound almost like words if you listen right. The sound draws me in like a magnet. Where others would feel a shiver climb their spine, I lean forward. My mama says the mountains remember everything, that the hollows hold voices of people who walked them before, and if you're born of that soil, you'll always hear them calling. She'd tell me stories while she worked, about the knock at the door that comes in threes, about the woman in white who walks the ridgeline when someone's time is near, about the things that wear human faces but smell like turned earth and rotting leaves. I was 8 when she taught me to leave cream on the porch step, salt across the threshold, iron nails above the door. Respect what's old, she'd say. It was here first, and it'll be here last, and remember to never throw stones. Another part of me knows better. It hisses in my ear, "Don't look at the neighbour boy." It tells me to run hard, far, until the hills are just rumours behind me. It warns that I'm mistaking the hush of the mountains for kindness, letting the green slopes blind me to what slithers in the dark, to the things that whisper back when the wind dies down. It says I need a place where I can be a ghost, where I can embroider a past so bland and harmless no one will ever think to question it. Some quiet, ordinary town far from the reach of the forest and the weight of the shadows. But I tried that once. After Papa died, I ran, on foot, hitchhiking, sneaking my way onto a greyhound, made it 3 hours west, lasted 2 months before the dreams found me. Every night I'd jolt awake with soil in my mouth, roots coiled like fingers around my ankles, dragging me back. The city was all wrong. Too loud, too bright, too flat. It was a lie too, but an honest one. So I came back, and Mama didn't ask any questions. She just opened the door and nodded toward my old room. The dreams stay away here, but the relentlessness doesn't. I'm home, but I'm not. Too far from settled, and still too close to the dark. My mind slips into the same old dream as I ride. Long autumns, rain tapping steadily against a tin roof, a van packed with everything I own and nothing trailing behind me or calling me back. A life quiet enough for my roots to dig deep, deep enough that no wind could ever pry them loose. Fatigue settles over me. Last night at work stretched longer than any of us intended, and I crawled home well past my usual hour. When I reach Miller's Lane, the main vein through town, I walk my bike between Ellie's bakery and Curio, the fibre shop where I work. Inside, I lean the bike carefully against the storeroom wall and pull on my heavy linen apron, wrapping the ties around my waist and knotting them tight at the front. I'm grateful I don't have to deal much with customers. Tonight, my work is with raw wool. The fleece comes to us locally. Sometimes I help with the shearing. I lose myself separating the dirty wool into smaller bundles, my hands knowing its language. I love the patterns hidden in it, the way the sun bleaches the edges over time, how black wool turns into rust where light has touched it longest. It's been about 4 years now since graduation. The girls I went to school with come in often, their hands full of patterned fabrics, bright little prints meant to keep the babies in their bellies warm against the coming cold. I remember the school lunches, free lunch for everyone, a government programme meant to keep rural places from collapsing in on themselves. The girls who could afford not to need it never went through the line. They made a show of it, sustained themselves instead on things brought from home, an apple and a soda, a bag of chips crushed thin in a backpack, skinny by choice, starving for their vanity. I wonder sometimes if they've ever known the dizziness that comes with real hunger, the sickness that follows when you finally try to eat again after days without. I remember once tearing paper into narrow strips and swallowing it just to quiet my stomach. I once ate half the pages of Flowers in the Attic. Now those same girls glide in with wider hips and shining rings, motherhood rounding them out, and still they look down their noses at me as if nothing has changed. When I look behind their eyes, I cannot tell if they've found happiness. Some time later the door opens behind me, and I hear Noah come in. I'm suddenly aware of the slick lanolin coating my arms, the damp hair plastering to my forehead with sweat. I don't stop working. I keep my eyes on the basin, on the steaming grey water clouded with dirt and soap. Noah and his wife Charlotte own the store. They're near retirement, maybe just past it, though I've never once heard them speak of selling or leaving. Some evenings, after the doors are locked, Charlotte stocks new rolls of yarn, colours stacked to let them flow into one another. She always pauses when she finds one especially soft, lifting it, rubbing it between her fingers as if memorising it. More than once I've caught Noah watching her in those moments, pretending to be busy with sewing machine repairs or the register. He looks at her with such adoration, such patient devotion. I envy her, not just for his love, but for her ability to find joy in things so small and honest, for believing joy is something she's allowed to have. I finish wringing the wool and lay it carefully across the warped wooden drying rack as Noah and Charlotte come into the back to close up. I say my goodbyes and wheel my bike out into the dark. The jealousy lingers, but it's not bitter. It stays sweet somehow, and I let myself chew and think on it. The road curves upward toward home, and the fog is already there, waiting. As I pedal into it, I hear a voice carried on the wind. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this fantastic book. If you want to continue the story, please find the link in the description below. Also, while you're there, please give me a like and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow. If you'd like to support the channel further, please consider following the link to buy me a coffee. Every little helps. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.